Starting route to Escapeexpeditions.
We're going to start off with the Heist, which is actually the very first escape game I ever played, and I think one of the first games we played at the escape game together. Right?
Yeah, it was the third game that I had ever played, and the first game that we played together.
Yes, so to get started, do you want to talk a little bit about the story of the Heist?
Alright, so this is what it says on their website. Recover a priceless painting. There's an art to crime. Your world... Yeah.
But,
I'm not going to read the whole paragraph, but basically, you have to steal a painting from a museum.
Yes, and the reason that you're stealing said painting is because it was recently stolen from someone else. So your job is to steal it back.
Yes. Within the museum curator's office.
So in terms of story, I mean, this one is pretty straightforward. You gotta get in, steal the art, and get back out. There's nothing too complicated about it.
Yeah, it's a very simple story. Nothing really changes. It doesn't really develop. It's just break in, steal the art, escape.
So would you say that it's one of the weakest parts of the game, is the story?
Yeah, but it was also one of their earliest games. So I don't think the escape game world was doing heavy story-based games really at that point.
You mean like the industry in general, not the escape game, what we're talking about, the venue.
Yeah, the escape game industry, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Clarifications are good.
Yeah.
So our next criteria is production value, or like how the room itself looks and feels. And I would say that this room starts off pretty strong. I mean, they say that you're trying to steal something from an art gallery, and they put you straight into the art gallery from the beginning, and I feel like it's pretty convincing.
Yeah. It's nothing super crazy scenically or anything. It's like a hallway kind of, and there's paintings on all the walls, but it does feel like you're in a gallery. It just wasn't an ambitious design choice or anything.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I liked about it at the time was, I mean, I had obviously no idea what to expect in terms of like what an escape game was, and I thought it was going to be a lot of like puzzly looking things,
yeah.
You know, like I really had, no expectations. So when I saw this room to start off, I thought like, okay, it looks like an art gallery, like where are the puzzles?
Yeah.
And I thought that was one of the cool parts about it, because it made me more curious about, how do you even start? Like, where do I look? What am I supposed to do? And that triggered my investigative skills, I suppose.
Yeah, and I remember, because we played this game twice. The first time that we played it, it took us a little while to figure out what the first puzzle is.
To get the ball rolling a little bit. Yeah.
Because of that, because it feels very art gallery and not very puzzly, which we always love. Yeah, so scenically, production value wise, the second room is like an office kind of.
Right, the museum curator's office.
Yeah, so it's just office looking, which...
Yeah, nothing super over the top. I mean, it executes what it says that it is.
Yeah, it looks like an office, and it doesn't look like... It's not 4 white walls and a bunch of locks everywhere. Like, it feels like you're in a museum curator office, but that's not anything crazy.
There's bookcases filled with books and an elaborate desk, and like it's fine, I would say.
Yeah, I would say it's just fine.
Right, yeah, just fine.
Yeah.
And the story continues from the museum curator's office to where you're supposed to actually be finding this art piece that was presumably stolen. So it doesn't just stay in the office the whole time, and the story kind of unfolds from there. But I mean, it's nothing really to write home about in terms of the production value or the scenic of the game.
I agree.
I wouldn't say that was one of its strong points.
No, and it's definitely the weakest scenic out of all of the escape games.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way that we've set up how we're discussing these games, because we're kind of starting from what, in my opinion, is the weakest game of the escape games lineup to what I think is, their strongest, like their most
immersive game.
Yeah, the ones with the highest production value, the ones with the best puzzles, the newer ones.
Yeah.
You can definitely tell that the games get better as the escape game has gone along releasing them.
Yeah, and I mean, there's like a 2-year difference, maybe 3-year difference between the Heist and Mysterious Market.
I think more than that.
Maybe.
So anyway, in terms of immersion, what would you say about this game?
I think it has enough immersion that makes it wow enough for a brand new player.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if you are... Why I like the escape game so much as a brand is that if you are a new player and you play an escape game, escape game.
This is going to be so difficult for this whole episode. The escape game. Just like...
Then you understand what escape games are enough and like what a good escape game can be. The Heist is by 2019's standards not a great game, but it still holds up in a way that will get you excited about escape games as a concept.
I would disagree when you say that you think it's not a great game. I think it is a great game. It's not a good representation of what the escape game can do as a brand, because we know that they can produce such better games because we've played all of them or most of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was great though.
No, but at the time,
sure,
we were really blown away by it and we had an excellent, experience in general, I would say.
Yeah. I think it's next on the escape games chopping block also.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. So, what do you think about the puzzles about this game?
I remember a few puzzles that I was really a fan of and a few that I was not, so it has a good mix of both. I think the starting puzzle is really fun, especially for a new player. It really has a lot of different escape game elements, I think.
Yeah, I think what I really liked about it is there was a lot of investigating and like clue finding.
That's probably why we did so badly the second time, because that's our weak point.
We're horrible at finding things. But what I mean to say is that it's less of like, oh, look at this table maze, or like, look, here's a crossword puzzle we have to solve, or stuff that, you can automatically tell what it is. It was a lot of like organically finding what you're supposed to do in the space and interacting with the different parts of the room in order to make that happen versus just like blatantly putting like something you have to solve on a table to get a 4-digit number.
Yeah, the puzzles aren't in your face.
You feel a lot more like a private eye, like you're actually gonna steal stuff.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier about it being really new player friendly in a way that's positive for the industry, I think, because that is a much more immersive, like, entertainment, like, theme park-y kind of experience than, like, some games that we've played that are a bunch of lockboxes everywhere.
Right, this game is not like that.
No.
It doesn't immediately overwhelm you with locks and things that you think you have to do. It's more finding them along the way.
Yeah. I would give the puzzles like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I would say it's middle of the road. Yeah. I mean, they were still fun.
It's definitely worth playing, but I would put it on the bottom of the escape game list.
Yeah, if you had to choose what game to play, if you've never played any of them, I mean, I wouldn't say don't play it, but the other ones I think are more impressive than this one, just to be honest.
Yeah. Okay, so last on our list is customer experience.
I mean, overall, I remember having a great experience in this game because it was the very first escape game I ever played, and it sparked, like, this huge, like, passion in me that I didn't even know I had. And I remember we immediately went to go play a different game at somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so I really, really was blown away by it when we first played.
Yeah. At least at the Escape Game Orlando, their customer service has always been good.
So what I do want to say up front about just kind of in general about the experiences we've had every time we go to the escape game is it's pretty much guaranteed that you're going to play with random people.
Yeah.
And that's just because they always have public games. They don't have an option to like pay extra to get a private game like some other places do.
You have to book out the whole room. Yeah,
and that's obviously for a group of two like us is, I mean, laughably expensive. Yeah. Like we're never going to pay, $300 just to play one game, the two of us. So we pretty much always are paired with other random people, which is fine. I mean, that experience is always a hit or miss.
Yeah, and obviously we would prefer a private experience. So if we had the option of going to a venue that has a private game, usually we'll pick that.
Right.
Over a public game. But for public games, these games at least are built for, they have a decent amount of puzzles in them. They're built for more people.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted to say all that up front because it's kind of going to be a similar thread when we talk about each of these games.
Okay, you want to say anything else about the Heist before we move on? Overall?
I would say, in a nutshell, it is a good game. Not, blow your mind, excellent, but still really fun. Good for beginners and good for a big group.
If you want to play it, I have a sneaking suspicion that it will be the next game that the Escape game pulls out. So if you haven't played it and you're looking to do it, I would do it soon.
Your destination is on your right. The end of this review.